Photoshop, Chapter 12. We are on the bottom of page 292. This is Section D. We're adjusting skin tones. In Photoshop, you can select a color range that targets skin tones. That makes it easier to adjust the levels in the skin tone color, and it doesn't affect the entire image. If the skin tone color range selects other areas, if you're only doing minor changes, it's pretty much acceptable. We're going to go up to Select Color Range, and you're going to pick up not sampled colors, but skin tones. Click on Detect Faces. The preview in the selection changes. The face, her hair, the lighter areas of her dress get selected. You can decrease the fuzziness on this. This is up pretty high to 120 something. We're going to take this down to just 10. That's going to limit how much difference we're going to be selecting. Come on, let's drag. 12. Okay, I'm going to be fine with 12. And I'll say OK to that. The selection appears on the image itself with all those marching ants. And we're going to apply a curves adjustment layer to the selection. And that's going to reduce the overall red in the skin tone of the image. So next, pick up curves. Remember, you are on the corrections layer. So this is giving us curve 1. Photoshop adds the curve adjustment layer right above corrections, which is going to happen before that level 1 adjustment comes up. You're going to pick up red from the adjustments and click in the middle of the graph and pull the curve down just a little bit. The selected area is less red. Don't pull the curve too far down. You're going to get a green. If you do, you can see the difference. I didn't move that very much. And you can see the difference you've made by clicking the toggle layer visibility. So if we look at it, there's the before, there's the after. So you should just be taking a little bit of the red out. If you need to increase it a little bit, fine. If you take too much, she's going to look green like that. So it's just going to be slight amount. Because you shifted the skin tones before applying the curve adjustment layer, the skin color shifts, but the background isn't changed. The adjustment affects a little bit more of the image than the skin, but it still works all right. We're almost done with the model, and for a finishing touch, we're going to apply a surface blur that's going to smooth out her appearance a little bit. Select the corrections layer again. You can close the properties panel down and choose again layer and duplicate. We're going to call this one surface blur. And with that layer selected, go to Filter, Blur, and pick up Surface Blur. The Surface Blur dialog box comes up. You want to leave your radius at 5 pixels, but move the threshold down to 10 levels. And then click OK. The surface blur filter left the model looking a little bit glassy, but we're going to reduce the opacity of it. So with the surface blur layer selected, take the opacity of that down just to 40%. That's just going to leave a little bit of a glossed over layer on her. That's just going to smooth it out slightly. You can see what it looks like, what she looks like without it, and with it on. It's just softened her face a little bit. You can target the surface blur more precisely by using the eraser tool. We're going to pick up the eraser. It's over here. And you want a brush that's somewhere between 10 and 50 pixels. Mine is 48. That's fine. I want the hardness on that to be about 10%, so we want a pretty soft brush, and the opacity needs to come down to 90% because we don't want to completely erase everything. We want just a little bit to blend. Now you can go in and you can brush over her eyebrows and her eyes to make her eyes so that her eyes aren't blurred, because you want your eyes to be clear. And you can clean up her eyebrows and then zoom out so you can take a look. Go ahead and save your image. and you're going to flatten this, and you're going to save this out for me as a JPEG, please. I don't need to see all your layers. I'm going to assume you know how to do this. We're at the end of the semester. If you don't know now, you're never going to. So go ahead, flatten the image and do a save as. And please, for me, save out a JPEG. And when the dialog comes up, I don't want a large file. I only want to see about a 6 medium file, which is going to be 800K, and say OK to that. You can even take it down to a 5 if you want, which is going to reduce it a little bit more, just under 600K. So say OK to that. That's the file you're going to be turning in to me. If anybody would like to, and they feel that they want something more to do, you can go on and do the extra credits section by yourself. Painting with light using camera raw as a filter. If you do that section, when you get to the end of it, please, if you want to turn it in for me, if you feel you would like a little extra credit, or just for the experience of doing it, go ahead then and save that file back out again as a small JPEG, and you can send it to me. Otherwise, that one's not going to be required for this particular lesson.